worked with the CIA. He's served in combat situations in 3 continents. He's had his own company and still does. He focuses on cyber security, and he works with the American Society of Industrial Security. So we're very delighted. He's going to talk to us about intelligence in the private sector. So Mike, did you have the clicker? Or you also?
If I'm smart enough to operate it, we'll be fine.
Okay, great.
Appreciate the opportunity to participate in the conversation today. At Pacific Gas and Electric, and I'll speak to this from an infrastructure perspective, we view the evolution of our sector as kind of in 3 phases. We were originally a construction company. We built dams, we built nuclear facilities, we built transmission lines and distribution capability. Then we become a pipes and wires company, providing electricity and providing gas to our customer base in California. Now I argue today that we're an IT company. We have 2,100 IT professionals and a company of 21,000. And as we talk to some of the next slides, you'll see kind of how that shifted perspective. I don't want to overemphasize cybersecurity, but I do want to speak to how it plays a role both in resilience and business continuity and infrastructure protection. So here we go. Okay, I'm pushing every button here.
Should be working.
Go ahead.
That's fine. There we go. I'll just get out of this. So Jimmy's good. Oh yeah. Give you an idea on PG&E. 1 in every 20 Americans receive their energy from Pacific Gas and Electric. We're basically everything north of Los Angeles. We're good. We'll just keep rolling. 50 million customers, both individuals and businesses. 48 billion in physical assets. We've got just about everything you can name. I said nuclear, we got gas generation, we have solar, we have wind, we have hydro. We have a nuclear facility in San Luis Obispo. And just to give you a perspective of kind of the infrastructure we provide power to, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, Hewlett-Packard, eBay. You think of all the companies that are in just the Bay Area and then the rest of the infrastructure. Okay, thank you very much. And really the last point is kind of the key point is today we've deployed 8 million smart meters within our service area. We deploy around 12,000 a day. And by the end of the year, we hope to have deployed 10 million smart meters. In short, if you're familiar with the smart meter concept as part of the smart grid for the U.S. infrastructure, a smart meter is basically a computer hanging on the side of all our customers' homes with 2 RF transmitters. One transmits information back to the utility for diagnostics, for control of the utility, for checking the power rates. It's all part of the smart grid to be able to control the flow of electricity and gas more effectively. There's another radio transmitter that will yet to be turned on, and we'll start that this year. That'll transmit into the home or into the property, into what's called the home area network. The concept is someday your toaster will talk to your dishwasher, will talk to your TiVo, will talk back to the utility company. So in the broadest sense, if you load the dishwasher and you go to bed at night and electric rates fall as they naturally do, it's a cyclical pattern. Electric rates fall to the lowest point at 2 o'clock in the morning. Your dishwasher turns itself on, or it watches to see when that power rate comes to the lowest level and turns itself on. So also remember then the fielding of electric vehicles. So then you've got an electric vehicle that you plug into your home area network, which is talking back to the utility, which has a 1 terabit hard drive on it, and it's Wi-Fi enabled, maybe cellular enabled. So from my point of view as an intelligence professional, the attack surface, the potential ability to abuse or take advantage of this network just increases arithmetically. So my mission, got a military crowd here, so I'll speak to the mission. And PG&E is getting used to my way of looking at the world. So, is to look at risk as we all talk to this, and give solutions that are actionable, something that the business can do something with. I tell my analyst and train my analyst that there's always a so what. I don't want to get enamored with the technology or the threat actor. What can a business do with this information? How can we make the smart grid safer? How we can ensure the flow of electricity and gas to our customers? Or how, if we were to have an event, whether it's natural or man-made, how do we respond to that more effectively? And I look at really 5 categories of insiders, rather 5 categories of threat actors. The insider, the disgruntled employee, someone seeking revenge on a manager or fellow employee, have a lot of potential. They're in a very trusted role.
83%.
Activists, a relatively new phase, but I think it's individuals with a high state of computer skills that then pursue a political or revenge agenda. One of the most recent example of a hackers group would be WikiLeaks and the group that supported them anonymous. That's the best example. Criminals obviously seeking to steal data or personal information and monetize it. Terrorists, nation states, more self-explanatory, but nonetheless important. These aren't ranked, but it's just to give you an idea of who we focus on. That said, about a year ago, Pacific Gas and Electric decided it needed to increase its ability to look at really the risk spectrum. And the first factor that you look at when you look at risk is you look at the threats, and you look at the capabilities and intentions of those threat actors. So that's where I came on board and we began to build the team. I consider this a learning environment, so I say this with great respect to my previous employer and those in the federal government. As we've said, about 80% of the critical infrastructure is owned by the private sector. We are our own first responders, and we're our own first line of defense in that regard. Again, it's not to diminish the relationship, but we own that in the sense that we need to be the ones that are articulating the threat and looking at the risk and how we can mitigate that. We look at a lot of sources, and they're all open source. Our analysts, some have come from the intelligence community, but we all work in an open source environment. Because the dilemma, contrary to kind of the point that's made that Homeland Security can give private sector clearances, what do you do with that classified information once you bring it back inside the corporation? You can't share it. I don't have the right to declassify or sanitize the information. So from my point of view, we work in a completely open source environment, but we employ the proper and ethical intelligence tools to serve our customer, our internal business customer. Again, these are just some examples. So there's a lot of information, there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of knowledge that can be gained and culled in open source avenues. So I don't see that as a limitation. I don't diminish what the intelligence community holds and can add to that equation, but it doesn't keep us from articulating what our risks are and how to deal with them. As such, we built an organization that really has 2 arms. The intelligence analysis on one side, as you see the line of chart, this is just a notional as far as the numbers and the organization, but the analysts are aligned along functional areas. We have one analyst or a couple of analysts who come from the gas and electric industry, and they've lived and breathed it. They've built infrastructure, and they know that. And so they look at the risk. As anybody who's in any business, if you build bridges, you kind of instinctively know its weak points, or if somebody wants to try to do damage to it, you kind of know where those positions would be. So we bring that expertise from the engineering side and the architectural side into the program. We have others that look at what I call the smart environment, as I just alluded to, the whole new dimension of the gas and electric industry that a few years ago didn't exist and is rapidly rolling out into the industry, and it has to be dealt with as far as other objects, other people, other things coming into the infrastructure. We look at regular enterprise risk. Every enterprise that's in business has cyber risk. We have the same ones. We have to address those as well. On the investigative side, we do the digital investigations. One of the most focused area in that regard is advanced persistent threat, usually referred to as threats from nation states. They're trying to infiltrate at a logical level, at a computer level, into a business, but do so at a low and non-perceptive level. In other words, they want to get in, whether to recon the network, to understand what information you have as to how you operate, whether it's to steal intellectual property, or whether it's to position themselves to cause material damage to the enterprise. So that's why our digital investigators focus on that piece. So the two sides work as a team. They work in a very collaborative effort. Sometimes it's similar to a Special Forces A team. Whoever the expert on that team is leads the project. So as Minnie Pearl would say, I'm done talking now. And we'll entertain your questions afterwards.
We'll do, yes, we'll do questions as a group. Thank you, Michael. Outstanding.